Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray with Let's Make Art, and I teach watercolor, a new tutorial every week, and this week we're doing a tiger. Super fun project. Like, I say that every time.
Is that bad?
No.
It's a fun project.
I have a great time every time, I really do. And the really great thing about this project too is I included the actual photo reference on the back of our reference here. So you guys can actually look at the photo that I used. The photo was taken by Mike Mara. I hope I'm saying his name right. So yeah, you guys can refer to that or the painted version as well.
Can I submit a real life photo to be painted?
Yeah.
It's just going to be me.
Okay. If you want.
In the wild.
If you want to paint Keenan, let us know. Okay. So we are going to do this project in 6 steps. So our very first step, we are going to do a light wash on the face of like a light orange. Our second step, we are going to define the nose and the, like kind of define the shape a little bit more. So putting in those darker values around the nose, eyes, ears. Our third step, we are going to do the black parts that are not stripes. So in the ears, around the eyes, around the nose and mouth. Our fourth step, we will be doing the black stripes. Fifth step, we'll be doing the eyes and chest. Sixth step, we'll be going in and just doing the drops. I like to drop in some, you know, pure color in some of these areas. So it's just kind of those last minute finishing details pretty much. And we are using 4 colors for this project. Our very first color is fuchsia. Our second color is tangerine. Our third color is dandelion yellow. And our last color is black. Did you see the comment where they were like, does anyone else find it funny that we're painting a tiger and not using tiger orange to paint the tiger? Ooh. And I was like, touche, that is funny.
That is funny.
And that was poor planning on my part.
Seems like a pun we missed out on.
We're using 2 paintbrushes today, around 6 and around 2. These are the Let's Make Art Classic series. If you have the Princeton Heritage series, those work out great as well. Any other brand will work just fine, but these are my go-to brushes. And our paper is Canson XL 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. Okay, nice. Let's do the outline, the oath, and paint.
Sweet. I always feel so impressive when I say, oh, it's cold press, Canson cold press, 140 pound.
Oh, let me tell you the details of this paper.
A little blue pad.
Okay, so here's our outline with this project. I used the washi tape that was in the October box to tape it down, or you can use painter's tape. Then you're going to take your graphite paper and do dark shiny side down. As you can see, this graphite paper has seen better days, but I like reusing graphite paper, so I just keep on using it over and over.
Why do you like reusing graphite paper?
Because it doesn't, because brand new graphite paper is super strong, as in it's like easy to get a bunch of graphite stuff on your paper even when you're not pressing down on it, and your lines are going to be darker just because that graphite is fresh on the paper. But the more you use it, the more that graphite rubs off, which means it gets better to use. Okay, there are a lot of lines, so I'm actually going to use...
There are a lot of different types of lines too.
Yeah, I'm going to use...
lines, dotted lines.
I'm going to use a colored marker if I can find one, so then I don't get...
I have a blue one here.
Yeah. As Keenan and I like to say, we don't want to get lost in the sauce.
Yes.
Of lines.
Yes. I don't know why I'm using that voice. Yeah, yes, quite.
So switch it up if you need help not getting lost in the sauce. Where did that come from, Keenan?
I don't know its origin, but I've said it for a long time.
Like, I think Keenan and I were having a conversation. He was like, they're lost in the sauce right now. And I was like, what did you just...
You stopped. You're like, what?
I'm like, what?
Hands up. Wait a second. What did you just say?
I'm like, I love that.
It's a great phrase. Those eyes look intense.
Yeah, these are.
Wouldn't it be terrifying to see a tiger in the jungle, like in the wild?
Yes.
I wonder if they're nice.
I'm going to bet that they just want to be left alone. And they're just trying to survive, you know?
I agree with that.
I don't want to classify them as like mean or aggressive because like they're just doing what they need to do to live, you know?
You know what? I'm going to look up how big a tiger is.
Oh, okay. They got to be huge.
Is this a Bengal tiger?
Never
mind. Forget I asked.
This is awkward.
Yes. The answer is yes. You can view a Bengal tiger close up in 3D on Google.
Really?
That is incredible. Males can get up to 490 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Up to 10 feet.
Did you ever watch Tiger King?
I did not.
Are you serious?
I am.
Why not?
I don't know. Does that shock you?
Yes. I mean, everybody was quarantined during that time. Like, there was literally nothing else to watch. It's like the #1 documentary in the world. Because everybody watched it because we were all stuck inside.
I'm really sorry to disappoint you about my viewing habits.
I'm not saying that like you're a fool. It's probably wise of you not to watch it. It opened up a world to me that I didn't know existed, which is the world of big cats and people collecting them. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
So I'm not saying that you guys should watch it. I'm just saying I'm surprised that you haven't.
This is augmented reality. You can put a tiger in the room you're in.
What?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry I'm doing this while we're filming, but my mind is blown.
No, that's amazing.
I don't think this tiger will fit in this room right now.
Where are you putting him? Okay, take a picture. Take a picture of it and then... Here, wait. Okay, wait.
Sarah, he's bigger than our table.
Wait, can you do it where he's by me? And then take a picture, like a screenshot of it, and then Michael will put it in.
Yes.
Wait, should I do a scared face?
Wait, just a minute. I have to figure out how because he's over here. I can't get him to move.
Oh, you can't replace him?
Let me get out of here. I'll redo it.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready and I'll pretend like I'm scared.
Pretend like I'm scared. Okay, he's sniffing. Wait.
Is he behind me?
He's behind you. He's sniffing the chair over there. He's kind of on the table.
Am I looking at it? Are you taking a picture?
I got the picture. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Can I see it? That is so great.
Gosh, that's so cool.
I don't know how Michael is going to edit this. He can probably edit that whole thing out.
And then just throw a tiger in the video?
I don't know.
I'm going to send it to him with no context right now.
Okay.
That is amazing.
Wow, this is a long tracing.
Some serious lines.
Now the nice thing about like tigers is they're also, and I know I talked about this like with the flamingo and the elephant, is like some animals have such strong distinguishing characteristics that it makes it easier to paint them because, like I've said before, our brains like to make assumptions. So like people are going to see orange and black stripes and they're going to be like, tiger, done. You know what I mean? So like in that way of our brain making assumptions, that helps us sometimes when we're creating, because then like it's just so much easier for our brain to recognize what's going on when they can pick up those distinguishing features. And then it's not as stressful of like trying to create this perfect rendering, because our viewer will be able to understand fairly quickly what's going on.
Have you ever tried to do a multi-page picture?
I'm not sure what that means.
Like you said that if we see black and orange, and I was going to make a joke, like what if I just put black and orange on a paper and called it a tiger?
Oh.
Right? But what if
okay.
you had like 4 pieces of paper to do this project, and on each page was something weird, but then when you put them together, it was the tiger?
That would be cool.
That'd be sweet, right?
Like maybe like one side of the face and another side of the
Yeah.
face? Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
But confusing if they're separate.
Yes.
Sweet.
Sweet.
I'll never do that. But it'd be really neat.
That would be neat. Okay. Let's do our oath. If you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
And I promise to have fun.
Thank you for that bell. And thank you for doing that oath with me.
Yes.
Now, let's get started. I also would like to say that outlines are just rough guidelines. If you notice a stripe, especially if you're looking at like the actual photo reference here, if there's a stripe that I missed or something like that, go ahead and put it in. You guys, hopefully with looking at this, you can kind of see where I started, and then feel free to make it your own. Okay. So our step 1, we're going to do a light wash on our tiger. So I'm going to take some tangerine and a little bit of black to make a brown, but not like a dark brown, like kind of a desaturated orange brown. Okay. And then I'm just going to start putting in that color. So it's good to start with a light wash because you can always layer more on top. Now there are a couple white areas that I want to avoid while doing this, and it can get confusing because they're all outlined the same. So the couple that I want to point out is this area above the eyes and below the eyes. Okay, so I'm going to be avoiding that area altogether.
Michael said, LOL, you really took the Tiger King to heart, I see.
Now I'm also just painting over the stripes because those are going to be black. So it's fine if I'm painting a light orange on them because they'll be covered by a darker value. I also want to say that you'll notice that this photo, the colors are different, right? Like this is very much golden, where I went like straight orange, red, yellow. So feel free, if you guys want to match this closer, you can. But I really love color and I really love vibrant colors, so that's why I go there.
You're pretty close to the color of that picture right now.
Yeah, that first layer. So like you would just kind of add black in to kind of like tone down all these vibrant colors. And also like I'm going to go back in near one of the last steps and just drop in strong color, like the drops of orange. You can kind of see where I did that in here. I do that on purpose because I like color, but you don't have to do that. This is your painting. Now when I get to the sides here, I'm only going to go out, well, I'll go out all the way, but just make sure that this is a very light value because it's going to be reading as white almost, or like almost white, like a tan. Because if you look at our reference photo here, see how It's white on the edges. So just, yeah, make sure that's nice and light.
I would rather have a large, dangerous cat like this in my house than an actual cat.
Really?
Yes, this just seems so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted a tiger since I watched Aladdin. Princess Jasmine had one.
I did not think you were going to say Aladdin. Ever since I watched Tiger King, I've wanted a lion.
Well, I just thought it'd be cool to have as a pet.
Raja?
Raja, because she like helped her over the wall and she like comforted her when she was sad. And I was like, that would be cool to have a big pet that does that.
That'd be totally cool.
But then after watching Tiger King, it's like, they don't.
Raja might eat me.
Well, it's like they don't just like, that's not what they were made for.
Oh.
Captivity, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and I'm putting in the cheeks, is what I'm going to call them. I'm going to put my color in darker at the top, and then as I round out near the bottom, I'm just going to use water to spread it because I actually want this to stay really light value, almost white. Okay, then let's put a little bit stripes down here, like the orange part down here. And I'm being very loose with my brush stroke. As you can see, I'm kind of just like laying down the color and just letting, I'm not trying to get a perfectly smooth, even wash. I'm letting things like bleed. I'm doing rough, loose strokes. They're not detailed and they're not perfect, okay? Okay, there's step one. So let's move to step two, and we're gonna kind of separate and create different planes on our face right now, because right now it's all reading mostly flat, and we want to create definition and form within our tiger. So I'm gonna take some more of my orange and a little bit of black to make a darker value. And if you want it like super saturated, another thing that you can do is just drop in a little bit of fuchsia. And using this darker orange, I'm going to go along the side of my nose here. And you can kind of see the dash marks of where I want this to kind of like blend out. It doesn't have to end perfectly there. It's more of a reminder of like, hey, don't let this dark value take over everything. We want there to be a transition. A little shadow, darker value right above the pink nose as well. And then I just take water and blend. I'm just gonna let that dry for a second. I'm also gonna do a dark value right in the middle here, because like if you have a cat or a dog or anything like animals, you can even feel it where it's like their bone structure kind of goes in at the top a little bit, and like the hair almost like comes out and grows to, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanna show that it's kind of, I just wanna show that it's a slight indent at the very top, where almost like a part or something, and that's kind of where their stripes are coming out too. So you can see it here. You see how that's the stripes are coming out? Like that?
Yeah.
Like that middle. So like here's a darker value, and then it gets lighter, and then in the middle it stays kind of darker. Do you see the difference? So I'm gonna put that in. So just kind of where these stripes are meeting in the middle. Put that in, and then kind of just blend out. Now again, I don't want to go all the way down because here's the darker value, and then I have a highlighted area here where my forehead is poking out, so I don't want to lose that, but then it gets darker again here. Okay. And then it's also darker underneath the, on the cheeks, right? Because the nose is closest to us and the cheeks are on a different plane. Same with our face, okay? So when you want things to recede in space, you give it a darker value. We want to push those cheeks back to make sure that the nose, this middle part especially, is what's popping.
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 Remember when you used to make sound effects for when you put paint on paper?
Like when I did...
Well, you've changed.
I need to get back to that. What was your favorite sound effect I would do? Like, I remember I'd go...
Yep. You also used to do like a swoosh one. Like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
When we get to the whiskers, I'll do the sound effects again.
Perfect.
And I use a combination of fuchsia and orange for this part under here because I wanted to bring some vibrancy into my painting. Now the interesting thing about values is not necessarily about color, but you can utilize color to create a darker value. So like a darker value would be this, right, of that same color, or I can mix some red in there and create a darker value by using color instead of just the same color. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I chose to do here. I'm also going to do that a little bit kind of on the rounding of the cheeks, just on the top here. Now my nose and my cheek area, see right here, that got lost. That blended into something flat, which is fine because we're just going to let that dry, and I'll go back in and define, like separate those space. But in the meantime, let's put in the orange on our ears, which is kind of just on the outside here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is a very loose painting.
Right now it kind of looks like Mufasa in the clouds, even though it's a tiger.
Yeah. Mufasa's a lion. And then if you liked that strong orange that we put underneath the eyes and you want to introduce it to other parts of the painting, you can. We'll do more of that later, but as you can see, I get really excited about color, and sometimes I just can't help myself. So I'm like, let's put it in now.
Yeah. Why would you? Color's beautiful.
It's just, oh, it's so fun. Okay, focus, bring it in. All right, so I'm gonna go back in. I wanna make sure this is dry. The reason why this bled out is because my cheek was not dry when I went in to put in the darker value on my nose, and so those areas wet and the color evened out between them. So make sure it's dry. We're gonna do another.
What if the Lion King was actually called the Tiger King when it originally came out?
That would be wild.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Do you know the Lion King is the highest grossing animated film of all time?
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me. It's a great film.
Do you know what's right behind that? Frozen.
Really?
Uh-huh. I'm pretty sure. Somebody check out. It's either Frozen or Toy Story.
Highest grossing animated flick. Highest.
So I put in my darker value again, and again blending out, but I'm leaving that middle area because I want it to be highlighted. And sometimes what I like to do is I'll drop in, like on some of these highlighted areas that are supposed to be nice and light values, I'll drop in some like strong yellow just so they also have some vibrancy to them.
Check this out.
Is it Lion King?
Well, there's some conflicting information.
Okay.
One from CNBC says Frozen 2 became the highest grossing animated film with
Yes.
1.32 billion. But that's above Frozen. But then a little farther down, rank number 1, 2, 3, and 4 is Lion King with 1.91.8 billion. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So sorry, that's the wrong number. Million. This has to be wrong.
Wait, I'm confused now. What are you trying to tell me?
Never mind. Never mind. It's got to be 1.32 billion for Frozen 2. Yep, this is most updated. But it was at one point Lion King, Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, then Frozen 2.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's shocking, but it looks like...
Toy Story wasn't in there, really?
Apparently not.
Okay. Now, I just want to say for people painting along with me, you might be looking at your tiger and being like, I'm not sure what's going on. That's okay. Always give your animals a chance before you give up on them. This is the awkward stage. This is the weird stage. You might think your painting is looking bad, and let me tell you, you're doing it right, because it should be looking a little bit weird right now, okay? So don't give up on it. I'm going to leave this alone for a little bit and let this dry before I make any more adjustments to darker values on the face. You are free to do the same. I'm gonna actually just drop in some like red orange on some of my stripes right here, because for me, this is the exciting part, and I just can't wait to do it, so sometimes I just go for it.
He's waking up. He or she?
The tiger?
Yes.
This is a she. Well, I can't, you know what? I don't know yet.
You gotta wait for the eyes.
Gotta wait. Okay. But yeah, it's starting to pop. All right, now we're gonna move on to step 3, and I'm gonna do the black areas around the nose, mouth, eyes, and ears. Not doing the stripes yet. So wherever you're working, just make sure it's dry around that area. I'm gonna switch to my round 2. I'm gonna grab some black. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in with my 2 and paint around the pupils on my tiger. Just using pure black. And I'm gonna do a very, very thin line of black on the top.
Already coming in with some more character.
Yeah?
Yep, look at that.
Okay, and then a thin line at the top. Okay. And then I'm going to put the pupils in. Oh yeah.
That is a good looking eye.
And again, our eyes are not done, but how we get it to look a little bit more mischievous or like whatever is you'll notice that the pupils are at the very top of where this eyelid is meeting, so it's kind of like it's looking down and then looking up at you. That's how you kind of get that look. So if your pupil is more centered in the eyeball, it's gonna look like it's looking a little bit more straight on, which is not as like intense of a gaze. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So just a little hint there for pupil placement. Okay, and then there's black.
So it's looking at us like we're a snack.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what I was gonna say there.
Yeah. I was ready for it.
I decided not to say it, whatever it was. But I'm thinking of the Tiger in the Jungle Book.
Tiger in the
Ka?
Jungle?
Is it Ka?
Tiger in the Jungle Book? Oh, I thought you were saying the tiger in that Jungle Book. And I
No,
was
the
like,
movie.
What? You got to be more specific. What Jungle Book?
The Jungle Book.
Shere Khan.
Is it Shere Khan?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who's Kaa?
Kaa is the snake.
Ah.
I was just thinking about that too.
So this tiger reminds me of Shere Khan.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love the vultures in Jungle Book. They crack me up.
They're the beetles, aren't they?
Are they really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, now I'm painting around the nose. So just kind of follow my outline here.
I forgot they remade that movie a couple times.
Yeah, they did. And then this black line kind of goes at the top too. Is my head in the way?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, I gotta smooth that out. Okay. And then right where the mouth meets together, there's gonna be a shadow here. Like that. And then right away, because might as well, I'm just going to kind of blend out that mouth shadow down. All the way to the dotted line that I have here. If it goes out a little bit further, that's okay.
So far, this one kind of looks like it has a head tilt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this black and mix it with a little bit of water, not a lot, but a little bit. And I'm going to do the little stripes. I don't know if they're stripes, it's this part here. So it's like the eye socket, the black part around the eye socket. So I did a slightly lighter value. Okay. That was step 3. And now we're going to move on to step 4. We're going to do the stripes. So I'm going to switch to my 6. And then if you can still see your outline, which hopefully you should be able to, just start filling in those stripes with black.
So I think that the vultures were voiced by voice-over artists, but when they did the quartet, the singing part, that was the Beatles.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
And another trick that I do, just so you guys know, like let's say I'm painting this and I'm trying to follow my outlines, but I can't see my outlines very well. Sometimes I'll look at my outline again and just kind of eyeball it. Like it's good to have a reference. So then I'm like, oh yeah, there's that chunk and here's a chunk. And then it kind of like makes a bigger loop here. And of course, I feel like the stripes on a tiger are different on each tiger, so don't feel like these have to be perfect in any way. Well, that area was wet. Do you see that that's bleeding? That's okay. I kind of sprinkle water on this at the end and get like really kind of like crazy with some splashes. So if things get a little bit messed up in here, I'm not too mad about that. Because I'm going to mess it up a little bit anyway.
The voice actor for Shere Khan looks like he'd be a real Shere Khan.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got a real thin mustache. Just staring at the camera like he owns the camera.
And then there's also the black part within the white part that we left. Now, I know that this is not looking as colorful as our reference, and that's okay. It's because we go in and we drop in the orange a little bit later, so don't stress.
This tiger is coming to life.
Starting to pop out a little bit. And again, like, because this reference is so loose, you might be confused. Where are these lines? Where are these lines? I don't want you to stress out, but that's also why I included the photograph. So then if it's easier for you to follow along with the photograph, since it's not as like loose and splattered, feel free to use that. Just do whatever makes you feel comfortable. And also I just want to say there's nothing wrong with like not knowing where something is going. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay just to like throw stuff in there. Like, these stripes are not on my outline, but I felt like they needed to be there, so I put them there, you know?
Yeah. Seems more natural. Do you actually want to slide that reference photo up so it's on top of the, yeah.
That?
Nice.
Is that better?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Then we have some black stripes going on down here. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just going to pause that for a second. And this is the part where we're going to have a little bit of fun. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off the ears. So I'm going to grab some yellow and orange, and I'm just going to kind of blend the rest of my ears. Now I'm going to touch that black, and it's going to bleed, and that's okay. It's really loose. Drop in some yellow, orange there. Okay. And now I'm going to go through and just start adding some like bright, bold colors to my tiger. And you can use yellow, you can use fuchsia, and you can use orange. I'm going to do like, I'm not going to use fuchsia just straight because I think that that would be too pink. So I'm going to mix it with my orange. But utilize the yellow as well. And just kind of be aware of like, if your black is still wet. Like, I don't mind a little bit of bleeding. As you can tell here, there was a lot of bleeding going on between these like stripes and black parts. I don't mind that, but if like it's a really dark part and it's super wet, just be careful and know that that black is gonna then go everywhere. So, you know what I'm saying? Just be mindful. Try and work around the stripes a little bit. Drop in some yellow here.
Ooh.
Maybe some yellow here.
That black kind of bled into the yellow you dropped in. It was awesome.
Yeah. I like a little bit of bleeding.
Yeah.
Okay. Revisit underneath the eyes a little bit. Introduce some yellow. Yeah, isn't that color, doesn't that just like, ugh, I feel like it adds so much. I love it. Okay. Now things are getting messy, things are getting a little bit crazy, but that's okay. I'm going to go in and kind of work on the nose a little bit more. Because now that I put in my blacks and my strong color, the original darker values that I put around my nose and eyes are not as dark anymore, because the black is the darkest value. So you kind of have to match your values to what you put down. So I'm mixing a darker, even darker value, and kind of where these eyes meet here.
I feel like the hairstyle choice that this tiger has right now is a direct middle part.
Yes. Yes, totally.
Almost a bowl cut, but not quite.
It does look like a bowl cut right now. Oh, I love that. Okay. I'm going to drop a little bit of yellow and orange here. Again, you'll see I'm not blending these things out perfectly. I'm really letting the paint run and like letting my brush strokes show. Do some yellow down here. Kind of blend it out just a little bit. Okay, yeah. And then, like, I just want to point something out to you. For me, because I've been working like around this circle, I almost feel like the nose is rounded now. Do you see that? Where it curves? It's not actually, but it's what's happening is I did a curve here and a curve here, and I didn't darken the sides. So that's why it's making it feel like it's rounded. So if I were to go in
Interesting.
and do it on the sides a little bit more.
Oh snap.
It will flatten it, or just straighten it out. It doesn't have to flatten it, but is that working? Did that straighten out a little bit?
Yep.
I'm really close to it.
There was like an egg feeling to it almost on the
Yeah.
top.
And I actually might blend out this highlight a little bit more just to soften it, to kind of flatten it. Still feels kind of eggy. Let me go back to it. Let me dry and move on to another area, and then we'll go back to it. Okay. Put some yellow down here.
It's a great tiger.
It's looking good, right?
Yeah, this is fun.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of define my white areas a little bit more. So I'm going to mix my black with a little bit of water. So we're on step 5, which is the chest and the eyes. So I'm going to work on the chest and then we'll move to the eyes. So underneath the jaw is the chest, which is white. So we know that in painting, like even though things are white, very rarely are they white as the paper white. So I'm going to use a little bit of gray. And if you want to introduce some yellow in there, you can, just to give it like some warmth to it. But what I want to do is I want to separate the jaw from the chest. So I'm going to leave the very edge of this bottom of the mouth white, and then just paint around the jaw for the chest, and that will automatically push the chest back and pop this jaw out. And if you got to do a couple runs of that, you can even pull some black that you have
So what if someone accidentally made the nose more flat versus how you made yours a little more round?
Well, it's actually, if you look at the reference photo here, it actually is pretty flat. So I need to go into mine and flatten mine out.
Oh.
But I'm going to wait for this to dry first before I go in and do that. Because sometimes when you're working an area, like putting in darker values and trying to shape an area when it's super wet, it's not going to do anything. So you need to step away from it for a second, let it dry, and then come back and adjust. So that's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for this to dry, and then I'll come back and adjust it. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to put in the white on my tiger. So I'm also going to go along here and kind of do these, like kind of define the edge of my fur a little bit with this like dark color.
That changed his bowl cut.
Yeah. And, oh, I forgot a black stripe right here, which is kind of important. There we go. Defines his face.
What if we gave this tiger a top knot?
Oh yeah. And kind of here. Can kind of define the shoulders of the tiger too a little bit with this. Maybe some yellow down here. I love this tiger so much. I'm having so much fun. Okay. Yeah, just look at the pops of yellow in there, and the like that's a little bit more fuchsia, and I love it. I love it. Okay, now we're gonna work on the eyes. Oh, there is a pop of orange right here that I didn't paint yet. Okay, so the same thing with the eyes, which is, yes, the fur is white around the tiger, but as you can tell, if you're looking at values here, the whitest white is at the top, right here, here, and here. So I need to kind of tone down the whiteness right around the eyeballs, okay? So use that same gray. And you just want to be careful. I went into my black part, and there's so much black paint there that it immediately spread, and I really want to keep that shape. So I'm going to paint around it then on this next one and not let those areas touch, because I want to keep that black shape tight. Now what you do when it does touch is you just try and lighten it as much as you can, or like avoid the bleeding as much as you can, and then when that dries, just go back in and reshape it a little bit. And then same thing on the top here. We're going to tone down the white, how white it is. And you can see here, there's a lot more like tiny black marks right here.
In the unibrow section?
Yeah. So I'm going to put those in. I don't know if they were like originally on my outline or not. But at this point, it's so painted over that if they were, I wouldn't really be able to see them. So I'm just going to put them in. And again, they don't have to be perfect. Okay. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a second. And let's go back to our nose. So what I need to do is I need to flatten my nose because it's feeling very round. So in the areas where it's feeling round, where it's curving right here, I need to darken that with another value. So I'm just going to go in here Okay, and then I think what's happening too, and this is where it's handy to have the reference photo here, is this area across here in between the eyes, that's a darker value across the entire thing. And I've left a pretty strong highlight in between. So
there's that face plane you mentioned earlier.
Yes, because it's the same with humans. If you feel your nose, where the area is, the bridge of your nose is closer to your eyeballs than the tip of your nose. Okay, you feel that?
Literally.
Yeah, so it's like, here's the tip of my nose, and then there's like the bridge of my nose. It goes in, which means it's gonna be shadowed right in there. And it's the same for this little guy, well, big guy, is on the bridge of his nose. That value comes in more.
Starting to look a little more intense.
Okay, so I darken that. I think what I need to do too is it's kind of feeling like this value that's happening right here is the same. And I need to darken the outside edge of it a little bit more, okay? Because that's what's, if you look at our reference photo here, see how there's almost like a black mark here? Very strong line.
Yeah.
And then it transitions to lighter. I lost that because it's all one value. So I'm gonna go in with my actually let me do one more adjustment here. Okay. Go in with my 2. Get even darker. And this black area is going to come up. That. Okay, and then the same thing on the other side. Okay, and again, I'm going to let that dry and then come back to it and decide what else we need to do. But it's too wet to make any further adjustments right now. So let's do the actual eyeballs. So the eyeballs, I did like a yellow orange. So I'm going to start.
Bless you.
Sorry, I need to calm down. So excited. I'm going to take some of my yellow with a clean brush, and I'm going to
watch your head.
Paint yellow around my eye. I'm going to try and avoid the black areas if I can. Because they're so rich with black paint that, yeah, you can see where I touched it starting to bleed. Which a little bleeding's okay. We just don't want it to go crazy. Okay, we're gonna pause from that, let that dry before we do our next layer, and I'm gonna do the nose. So I'm gonna take fuchsia and my black and mix that together, and it's gonna create kind of like a dark purple. And I'm gonna take that dark purple and right on the tip here, I'm gonna do it on the bottom of the nose, on the left of the nose, and on the right of the nose.
What?
And then I'm going to blend that out to a lighter pink.
I didn't even notice those colors. I was feeling proud because I was like, oh, I can see the color she used on the tiger's fur. Didn't see.
It's like a purple.
The nose, yeah.
It's like a fleshy color. And the reason why we do the shadows on the edge and the bottom is because the nose itself has form and is rounded. So the edges, you can even like feel it. It's not just like flat. You know what I mean? There's a roundness to it.
What if you did an ice blue eyes?
Oh, that would be so cool.
That'd be sweet.
You have blue. You have blue in your October box. You totally can.
Snap.
You should. Okay, I'm just gonna do...
The possibilities.
There's so many options. Painting is so great. Okay. There's our nose. I'm gonna go back into the eye, and near the very top of the eye, I'm going to do kind of like a brown orange. That's because this brow is casting a shadow on our eye. Kind of blend it out to that yellow. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second. And if you feel like your pupils are like too high up, where it almost feels like the tiger is rolling its eyes to the back of its head instead of looking up at you, then, which I kind of feel like my tiger is a little bit, it's just looking a little bit too high. I'm gonna go back in after my yellows are dry and just make the pupil, move it down a little bit and make it a little bit darker. So then it's not like so high at the very top. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
But we gotta be patient with that. We gotta let that dry. So we're gonna move on to another area.
Patience is a virtue.
It is.
Duct tape is silver. Have you heard, not patience. Silence is golden. Duct tape is silver.
That's good. Okay, and now I'm gonna just kind of start blending things around my tiger. Let it get a little bit messy. I need to put in the black on the whisker part, kind of where those whiskers are coming out. You can see here. So that's what we're gonna put in.
Whiskers.
Okay. I'm going to start blending my nose a little bit. And I think I'm actually going to lift up a little bit of color here if I can. Just kind of like flat in the middle. I feel like I overworked it a little bit too much. So I'm just going to try and put some highlights back in there. There we go. And then like this kind of brownish that I have here on my nose, right, that I've painted on my nose, I feel like I need to introduce to other parts of the painting so it doesn't feel like
separated?
Yes. So I'm just going to take some of that brown and work it into some of these parts. The ears, I mean, you can choose where, and maybe you don't have that same tone of brown on yours, so you don't need to do that. But for me, I'm kind of feeling the separation, and so I'm just going to put it on some areas of my tiger so it doesn't feel so disjointed.
I can see those eyeballs now, like
Rolling.
really shifting. He's getting tired.
He's tired.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to sleep.
He's like, why don't you just finish this painting so we can go home?
Even the tiger is irritated with how long I'm taking. Okay. And then I just want to introduce some yellow to this also. I feel like I lost my saturation on my nose by overworking it so much. Let me see how it's starting to feel. Well, it's starting to flatten a bit. Now is kind of to the point though for me on my tiger where I could keep messing with this nose. But I feel like it's getting so muddy that I'm losing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So that tiger nose too. Look at him. Don't mess with the nose, lady. Oh.
He's like, get over the nose. My nose is what it is. I feel you, tiger. I hear you. Okay. I understand.
This tiger is drama.
I say stop messing with the nose, and here I am still messing with it. At some point, you got to accept it for what it is, because I feel like if I keep messing with it, it's just going to get muddier and muddier and muddier, and I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, so I have two options. I can embrace the nose for what it is, and like leave it alone and just move to other areas, or I can try painting this again and just be aware of the roundness of my nose as I'm painting. I'm going to drop some orange in there. Gosh, I love just drops of color. I can't even deal how much I love it. Okay, let's go back to the eyes. I'm going to move the black pupils down just a little bit. Make sure your yellow is totally dry before you do this, please.
I feel like you'd also have to be careful not to make him cross-eyed.
Yes. It is tricky. Eyes and pupil placement, everything gives so much information about the expression. There we go. That feels better. Now he doesn't feel like he's irritated with me. Nope. He just looks hungry now.
He's like, all I need now are whiskers.
I'm going to do one more little orange golden hint at the top here. Leaving that bottom really yellow so it's like popping out. We got to do whiskers and we got to do water drops. Let's do water drops first. No.
Ooh.
Let's do whiskers first.
Whiskers first. Sound effect.
With the sound effect. The reason why I'm doing whiskers first is because whiskers are hard. But if you mess up your whiskers, you can do some water drops to like, you know. Which you can see here, I had a pretty aggressive water drop here and it totally did something weird with my whiskers, which is fine, because if I mess up my whiskers there, no problem. Okay, whiskers, taking my round 2, picking up some black. Whiskers are really tricky, but you guys can do it. It's just thin lines that come out from like these dotted areas, and sometimes I make noise to help me with them. So I'm just going to so you can do
You could try to watch a movie and people won't stop talking.
Or whoosh, 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 whoosh. Just be careful of like how long they are. You want some that are longer. You want some that are shorter. You don't want them all to be like perfectly the same size. which your brain will do, because that's what our brain does. I always have a hard time doing whiskers going out to the left because I'm right-handed. So sometimes I'll put my paper upside down. You just have to be aware then of the curve of angle and make sure it matches the other side. So sometimes I'll do a few upside down and then I'll check it and I'll be like, okay, like that doesn't feel too crazy.
That's awesome.
Okay. Just want to darken up above right here a little bit more. Oh my gosh, I love this tiger. Okay, now we're gonna do some crazy water splatters. Because why not? You know what I mean? I'm going to grab some orange.
To go full party mode.
Yeah, we're just going to... What was that?
That's my party mode sound, of course.
Okay, so I have some orange and yellow. And this, I know I always say, wipe off your brush on the edge of your cup. This is where you don't want to do that. So I have nice and wet color orange. And I'm just like, my brush is dripping. And I'm just going to...
Now we need a new mat for the table.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh, do some purple.
Purple?
Yeah.
Purple or fuchsia?
Sure. Fuchsia.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if you want it, if you want them to be directional, you do a hand motion with your stabbing motion.
Holder.
So if I want it to go like down or across, like let's say I want to have a splatter go to the right, then I would have my arm go that way as I was hitting it on the down. So I'd be like, whoa. If you want it to stay in one spot, you would just go straight up and down.
You know what this makes me think of?
What?
This makes me think of like an action shot of a tiger in rain.
Ooh, yeah.
And the rain's just frozen there.
And what you can do is you can do the same thing just with water, because then you would get a splash effect on the tiger without like introducing new color. So if I'm just taking water and it just gives it like nice and wet feel.
Dang.
And then one last thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to carefully define the bottom of my cheeks like that. Oh, it hit a water drop. That's okay. There.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you can do some last minute whooshing, last minute framing. Man, look at that tiger.
That thing is alive.
It is a beast. Oh, I love him. What should I name him?
I don't know. Todd.
No. Let's play off that he was super irritated halfway through.
Okay. Francis.
Is Francis a name of someone who gets
It just
irritated?
seems like a Francis, like, drama. I don't know.
Francis. Yes, female Francis.
Female Francis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, she's like the person that helps you at the DMV. That's like you're trying to explain your story and she's just looking up at you like...
I've heard this 1,000 times
she's
today.
Like, come on, I just want to get through my day, you know?
The DMV tiger.
Okay. That was so much fun. I really had a great time. I love how my tiger turned out. I know that it is so hard to like let go and let loose, especially when you're learning something new, but it's so fun to do it. And remember, It's just a piece of paper. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to throw it in the trash and you can do it again. We definitely give you so much paint that you can do this painting over and over and over and over again. So don't let fear stop you from having fun. If you need any of these supplies, you can find them at letsmakeart.com. If you want to share your work and you want to see what other people are creating, we created a Facebook group just for you.
I want to see the worst version of this tiger.
Okay.
Like, I want to see their worst, in their minds, their worst version.
Yeah.
So share it.
Share it. Let us see it. And I know it's scary posting something that you're not totally proud of, but sometimes it's worth it just to be like, yeah, this turned out weird, but man, I had fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Just do it.
So that's called, that Facebook group is called Let's Make Art Watercolor. We also have an Instagram. You can tag us in it at Let's Go Make Art or hashtag Let's Make Art. I hope you guys have fun with this project. Francis, you've been a joy to paint. And
even with your attitude.
Even with you being irritated how much I was talking. I get it. I'm working on it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for painting with me and hanging out with me. I had so much fun. Keenan, you're great. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.